Hello everyone, welcome back. My name is Jean and this is CreativelyJean. All right, today we're finally getting started on our Winnie the Pooh album that I've been wanting to make. Let's kind of quick go over some of the supplies we're going to need. And you can change these supplies whatever you want. I'm going with as my background paper, the cream color from Recollections from Michaels. I'm going to be using the 110 pound and I will be using a couple pieces of the 65 pound with that. Then my chipboard I get from Amazon. It's from Graphics. I really like this chipboard. And it comes in 12 by 12 sheets. So you'll need 3 sheets of this. And then the paper packs I'm using, I can get it out of here. So I'm going to be using a combination of 2 different Winnie the Pooh ones. Got this paper pack here, and I did a haul video on all this Pooh stuff. It's in scrapbook.com. I will link it for you in the description. We're going to use this one, and we're going to use some from this one, I think. I think they'll both go together nicely. I really like that page and stuff. We're going to use some from this pack also. And then I also got the 6x6 pack for some of the smaller areas. And then I got the coordinating solids paper pack because you don't need to use a designer paper everywhere in albums. I will be using some of that. We have a couple different washi tapes that came with the collection. I bought the whole kit and caboodle. Then we're using frames and tags. I'm trying to combine words again. And the ephemera pack. We'll go through these more thoroughly as we use them. I had the enamel dots. And then I got these kind of puffy stickers. And then I got some ribbon. I got these 2 were in my stash. I think will go nicely with the colors in the paper pack, so we're going to use those. I think that's all the supplies that I'll show you. First thing I'm going to start with is get this glued together. This will be for the cover. Oh, stuck together. Okay, they're stuck together. Plus I got some glue on there, probably did. First thing we need is we're going to need 1 full sheet that's going to be about 26 inches. 26, a little over is fine. It doesn't matter if it goes a little over. We're going to need 3 10.5 by 8.5, and those I'm using the 65 pound cardstock for that. Because you don't need the 110 on your chipboard. And then I'm also going to need 1 piece that's 10.5 by 2.5 out of the 65 pound cardstock. All right, let's get these. I'll show you how we glue these together. I have one that's already dry because you want it to be a little dry before we put it on the chipboard. You should kind of dry your stuff before you go on. This one we're not going to be using anyways. If you got some kind of grid mat, use a grid mat. This will really help you kind of line up your paper. We're going to do a 1/2 inch overlap on ours. I'm just going to line up the grid here, and there's our 1/2 inch. And you can use glue or tape, whatever you prefer. I prefer glue. So we're just going to lay it down, and then I keep my hand on this one to keep it still. And then I lay the top one, this one on top, and make sure it's at the 1/2 inch and lay it down. And we're doing the 8.5 side, 10.5 side this way. So we're gluing the 10.5 side together. Okay, let's line this one up. Okay, and put this one on. It really helps if you have some kind of grids you can work with. And now let's put our little 2.5 by 10.5-inch piece on. Okay. Now a train. First, the neighbor revving up his motorcycle. And now, of course, the train out there. Can't win whenever I'm taping. Whoops, I forgot to cut that one down. That's okay. We're not going to be using this one anyways, but just snip it off. Alright, then you'll have this piece here. Okay, I'm going to put that aside because I want a dry sheet. Alright, we can take the ugly board away. Okay, so now I have, we're going to have 2 sheets of the 10.5 by 8.5-inch chipboard. So we got 2 sheets of that. And then we're going to have one that's 8.5 by 3. And they are going to go in like this because we are doing a landscape instead of this way. I don't do landscape that often. I'm like, let's do a landscape one because, is that landscape? Portrait, landscape. I always get them confused. So we're going to do ours like this. Let's move my thing so we have some room. So let's bring in the dry sheet. Same thing, just dry. It's all just dry now. And I'm just going to kind of position it here. And then we're just going to position these. Oops. Go that way, Jean. You know which side kind of album you're making, and then you almost made it the wrong way. Okay, I'm just going to kind of dry fit it for right now. Make sure I have enough room. I'll bring this one down a little bit. About 1 inch around is what I have, about 1 inch border all the way around. So I just first like to kind of dry fit it, see if everything's going to fit. And that looks good. You don't have to be picky about it. You just, as close as you can get. Okay, that looks pretty good. All right, we're going to throw some glue on. Again, tape or glue, whatever you like. I just prefer glue. Gives you a little time to work. Don't overdo your glue. Okay, we're going to lay this back down. We're going to kind of line it up. And just rub it down. Okay, that'll be good. Now, when I like to leave about 1/8 of an inch, I want to make sure mine freely bends. I don't want no resistance when it bends. I do about 1/8 inch. Right about there is what I will do. We'll glue that piece down. And this is my Barely Arts glue. So then I just kind of line it up here, and then I'll slide it where I think I need it. Which that looks pretty good right about there. All right, so we'll put our last piece on. Now, if you can't get a hold of chipboard, you can always like double up some cereal boxes or some other cardboard, whatever you can find. I keep this brand on stock. It comes in, I believe it's 25 in a pack. So they have it in the craft color and the white, I believe. I almost always get black. Okay. I mean, you don't really see the chipboard anyway, so it really doesn't matter your color because it's not like you really see it. Let me push that up a little bit. Got a little crooked there. And I'll just flip it over. This just kind of helps flatten out the glue a little bit. All right. Now, so you can see it easily folds. And so we have our landscape there. All right, now, let me get this out of my way. We are going to fold up. Oh, no, yeah, I can do that afterwards. Okay, we're going to fold up all our sides. But first, I'm going to cut off my corners. And now you don't want to get too close to your corners because you'll see your little black corners. I just kind of like that. Keep these just in case you've cut too big, which I haven't done before. You know, sometimes, and especially when I'm on camera, I can't see. Oops, like that one. I'm going to cut a little bit off. You just want a little bit left there to kind of help cover your corners. And one more. All right. And what I do is I like to run my, whatever you have that you score with. I have different things. I just like to run that along. I think it helps a little bit for when you fold it all up. All right. Now I'll kind of fold up my corners and don't rush it. And this is the reason I use the 65-pound here, because your 110 can crack on you. So can designer paper also. Okay, I'm going to fold them all up. I want to make sure my corners, like that's perfect. I just want to quick test all my corners and make sure that I didn't cut too much off. And that looks good. And that one looks good. Okay. So then I'll take my scissors and just kind of, you can take your finger, your scissors, and kind of push that corner in a little bit. So get ready for when we fold. Just kind of tuck the paper in against the corner a little bit. Now, I like to start with my long edges. Don't ask me why, but I do. You can start with whichever edges you want. We're going to put our glue on. Again, tape if you want. I'm impatient. Tape takes a while to undo it and everything. Right. Now it takes glue a minute to adhere. Don't worry if you're messy like me. Yeah. All right. So then I just keep, you can use clips if you want. It doesn't take long. You can see this side already has taken hold. Let's rub it down good. There, got one. Now we're going to do this other long edge. Same thing. I was debating between my Winnie the Pooh and the Peter Rabbit paper that I have. And then I'm like, oh, I want to do my Winnie the Pooh. I've been wanting to do it. So we're doing Winnie the Pooh. No, I won't sing Winnie the Pooh for you. All right, again. Yeah, see, it grabs on pretty good. Doesn't take long for the glue when you're using art glitter glue or Barely Arts, either one. Those are my glues of choice. Okay. Good. Okay, now we will do that. I have to put this up. Let's try to get this in. It's longer than my table. And we're just gonna glue this up. My corners are in good. A little bit more there. Let's see this one. Okay. Glue on there. And now flip it to the other side. Okay, just take my thumbnail and just kind of push the corner in like that. There's different ways you can do your corners and stuff. If you have a preferred way, go for it. All right, looks pretty good. Now I don't like to fold it until it's dry, but I will crease down my little creases there where it's gonna fold. All right, now what I also like to do, and you don't have to do this, but I am gonna reinforce this section here. Now if you have some Tyvek or even like the dog food bags are really nice, you can use that instead, but I find that the cardstock works okay too. And I got an 8.5 by 5 inch sheet here, and it's just gonna go right in there. We're just gonna line it up so it's just like goes right over where it's gonna bend a lot. Okay, so let's put some glue on. Like I said, you don't have to do this part if you don't want to. It's going to get reinforced a little bit with paper, but not in that area so much. All right, now we're just going to line it up in the middle. All right, let that go down. All right. All right, and let me find my little I don't want to fold them all the way until I can, but I want to get it started. Just so I know. And don't forget that they're there. Okay. There. All right. Make sure it's all down good. Now we're going to push this off to the side for right now. We will put paper down later when we get to our decorating part. All right. We need to make our little accordion page holder. Okay, let's put this off to the side. Now for that, we are going to need, now I'm going to use for the binding, I'm going to use the 110 pound cardstock, and it needs to be 11 by 7.5 inches, okay? So we got to do a lot of scoring on this. All right. So we're going to put it on our 11 inch side. Okay. Let me cap my glue quickly before we move on, guys. Or I'll have dried out glue. Let me bring you down a little bit for this. We can bring you in a little bit. All right. First score is going to be at 1.5. 1.5. And then the next one's going to be at 2.25. 2 2 1/4. And the next one will be at 3. So we're going to have 3 1/4-inch spaces. And next is 3 3/4. And our next one is, of course, 4. No, not 4. How about 4 1/2 G? Not 4. You can add 4 inches. Now our next one will be at 5 1/4. Ooh. I did 5 1/8. Let me just smooth that one out. We don't want that one. We want not 5 1/8. We want 5 1/4. 5 1/4. 6 inches. 6 3/4. 7 1/2. Am I still in? 7 1/2. 6 3/4. 7 1/2. 8 1/4. 8. Make sure I do a 1/4, not an 1/8. 9 inches. And our last one will be 9 3/4. Okay. While I'm folding these, I'll read them again to you. So I'm just going to kind of fold them to get them ready. 1 1/2. 2 1/4. 3. 3 1/4. 3 3/4. 4. 4 1/2. Let's make sure I get that where I got that. 4 1/2. 5 1/4. 6. 6 3/4. 7 1/2. 8. I skipped one. 8 1/4. 8 1/4. I was ahead of myself. 9 and 9 3/4. Okay, I'm just going to do them the opposite way too. Looks like we're making a rosette, but we're not. Okay, make sure I get that one where I made a mistake. All right, so got them folded. Now this first section here, this first one, we're gonna leave down in the valley, and then we're gonna pinch this next score line. We're gonna pinch up, okay, and we're gonna leave the other one down in the valley, and then we're gonna pinch. So we're gonna leave this score line will be down, and then we're gonna take this next one, and we're gonna go up. This score line we're going to leave down, and then we're going to pinch this next one up from the mountain. And the last one. There we go. I couldn't get it to... Oh. Somewhere. I think I missed a score line. Let me see. Oh, I did 3/4, didn't I? It's supposed to be 9 3/4, not 9 1/2. Apparently I can't, you know, function today. Let me just fold that one. Make sure. Goodness sakes. Okay, I'm back. The camera kind of went kaputty. All right. Let's kind of flatten that back out. So let's kind of, I'll reread all the score lines then again quick, because I don't know where we left off. So 1 1/2, 2 1/4, 3, 3 3/4, 4 1/2, 5 1/4, 6, 6 3/4, 7 1/4, 8 1/4, 9, and 9 3/4. So now we're going to take, we got the first line is going to be a valley. We're going to take this second line and pinch it up and make a mountain. We're going to leave this next section down and go ahead and pinch that up. We're going to leave that down, pinch that up, and across. We're going to have four sections. We're going to be hooking our pages to. And look like this. I'm going to pick it up. Look like this then. All right. Now what we're going to do, if our camera behaves, all right, we're going to go, all the mountains we're going to glue together. So we're going to go from the underside, and we're going to put glue in there and glue all our mountains together. Okay. And you can use clips if you want, but it doesn't take too long. Right, I'm going to take the next mountain and throw some glue in there, on the underside. Pinch that one together. If you want to use tape, go ahead. Use your tape. Okay, and the third mountain. Let's go on the other side. Pinch it together. And the last one. Get my glue there. Let's get rid of this scoreboard out of our way. All right, now we have that. So let's bring, a quick wipe my tip off here. And we'll bring in our album. We have that right there. All right. And then this is gonna go, so there's our fold line. Let's see if we can fold it. Should be dry enough. Let's fold that one up. And fold that one up. Now you can see what we have there. That will be our album. All right, so now we're gonna put our little binding in, and we're just going to center it. Center it this way, and we're gonna center it. We have our two lines here, and I'm going to center this in between these two lines the best you can. Don't worry if you're off a little bit. I'm going by these two lines. So I'm kind of centering these four in between those two lines. I'm not worrying about, you know, the papers on the end here. All right, let's put on a bunch of glue. And we'll glue this down. back. And I'm gonna try it first. I'm gonna kind of center it up and down. And right about there looks pretty good. Up just a little bit. Glue there. Try to get that off right away. I'm just going to kind of flatten these so I can get in there. There. We're going to be giving this time dry because we're going to be, I'm just going to quick show you how to do the pages, and then we're going to stop for today because we want things to dry nicely before you play with it too much. All right, and there we have our binding. Let me go run over again our line here, but I'm not going to fold yet. I'm just going to run until that dries, just so I know where my line is. All right, there we have our binding strip down. We have our album. So let's put that off to the side. All right, for your pages, you need to have, and this I'm using the 110 pound cardstock. So you're gonna need to cut 8 at, not that one yet, this one first. Cut 8 at 10 inches by 8 inches. Okay, cut 8 that way. And then we're gonna need some strips, binding strips to hook the 2 pages together. If you were using a 12 by 12, you could just add an inch on each side, but we're using the 8.5 by 11 sheet cardstock, so I don't have enough on each side. So we need to also cut 8 of 10 by 1, our little binding strips. I don't know if they have too much 12 by 12 that I like to use anyways. Okay, we can put these to the side from it. We gotta score these down the middle. At a 1/2 inch, we're gonna score these. These are just gonna hook our 2 pages. We're gonna be making pocket pages. There's one. And this Michael's 110 comes in black, white, the cream, and the craft color cardstock. But I thought this cream would go good with the paper pack. So we're just going to fold these in the middle. And then we are going to be hooking them to each of our long sides here. So we're going to glue them down. All right, we just want to get them right to the edge. Hold that up so I can kind of make sure. And I'll just squeeze it and make sure I'm right at the edge. There we go. One on that side, and we will put one on this side. And there we go. Okay, now what we're going to do, and I'll use a couple of these. Whenever I'm working with something that's really big and I want to make sure it's nice and straight, I'll use some clips. You don't have to. Now we're just going to hook the other piece right on top of there. So first what I'm going to do is line up one side. Get as straight as you can. I'm just going to put on a couple of these. Any clips you have, those are what I have handy here. I'm just going to put those on there like that. I'm going to check that that's straight. Everything looks good. So now I'm just going to, did I just move it? Nope, we're good. So now I'm just going to put some glue along here. And we're going to glue this together. Just lay it right down. It should line up perfectly. All right, then just take your little clips off and we'll do the same thing on this side. And it should line up nicely for you. And I just go ahead and lay it down, and you want to make sure it goes down flat so you don't have a big like bubbles out. All right, and you're going to do that 4 times. Then you'll have this. And now we're not going to hook them into our book yet. Okay, we're not going to hook these in yet. We're going to decorate them first. And so we'll do one, page at a time. We'll decorate them totally, and then we'll add them into the book. Last time I've showed you, so I'm showing you both ways where you can put your pages in right away. We did that last time. And then we decorate them. This time I thought I would show you guys how to decorate them first, then add them in. Because depending on what you're putting on your pages and how elaborate you're being, it's a little easier to do it this way than to do it while it's in the book. All right, we're going to stop here. We have our pages ready to go, and we have our album ready to go. And it'll be plenty dry by the time we come back next week. All right, guys. I hope to see you in the next one, and hopefully the camera will cooperate. It's working now fine, but I don't know why it went out there. Could be an internet problem. All right, guys, we'll see you later. Bye, everyone.